this is the month that all the devotees very eagerly keep waiting. Like we have a lot of festivals, but this is a very unique festival for all the devotees. Like all the festivals we celebrate it for one day, and by some means, if we miss one day, then the festival is gone and you have to wait for 1 year. But this month is for 30 days. Right? So by any means, if somebody misses one day, then still we have a lot of opportunity to every day celebrate. So very, very auspicious month. As this has been explained in the scriptures, that our Acharya explains the 6 principles of surrender. So they say, Anukulasya Sankalpa Pratikulasya Varjanam. So whatever is favorable for advancing in spiritual life, one should accept that. And something which is unfavorable, one should reject that. So this is a we take this month as a favorable opportunity to advance, to deepen our Krishna consciousness, to intensify our sadhana bhakti. So all the devotees, they take their different vows of maybe little chanting, little extra rounds, or reading more, singing some songs, bhajans, some ashtakams. So the whole idea is how to intensify our Krishna consciousness. So that is the significance of this month. And the Adhishthatri Devi of this month is Srimati Radharani, or worshipable mother. The daughter of Kirtida. Her name is also Kratika, or we call Kartika. And that is how this Damodar month. There's another name of this Damodar month is Kartik month. And another one more name of this month is the devotees, they perform the vrata which is called the Urja Vrata. So Radharani is one of the name of Radharani is Urjeshwari. Means she gives a lot of enthusiasm and energy to the devotees. She blesses the devotees. So since this month is the Radharani's month, she is the Adhishthatri Devi of this month. So as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Margashisha, among all the months, I am Margashisha. But Krishna's most dearest month is Kartik month, not the Margashish month. Krishna is Margashish, but his dear month is this Kartik month, Damodar month, because it's the month of Srimati Radharani. So as the Krishna's dear pond is Radha Kund. So similarly, Krishna's dear Gopi is Radharani, and the Krishna's dear month is this Damodar month. So very, very auspicious, and various reasons why it is auspicious. Various pastimes being performed during this month, especially the famous Damodar Leela. So during this month, this Damodar Leela happened, then Govardhan Leela, and so many other pastimes, beautiful pastimes. So this is an opportunity for the devotees in this month to take this opportunity to remember, to read, to observe ourselves in reading and listening and discussing those pastimes, something about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, singing for Krishna, glorifying Krishna. And ultimately it will help all of us to intensify our Krishna consciousness, to deepen our Krishna consciousness or sadhana bhakti. Okay, so with this brief introduction, I thought this time, because it's just a series of 3 days sessions, so we'll not be having like last year we did for 30 days, but this time we are doing only 3 days, and then in between also we'll do more sessions. We'll keep you updated. So I thought of discussing in these 3 days the meaning of this Damodar Ashtakam, which we all sing at least 30 days in this month, if not 60 days. Some devotees, they might sing 60 days also, like morning and evening, but at least 30 days we all sing this. So I thought it will be very helpful, and it's very important when we sing for 30 days some song, if we can understand the meaning of that song, the deeper meaning, then probably while singing in front of the Lord, when we are offering this bhajan for the pleasure of the Lord, so if we can, at the back of mind, we understand the meaning, what is happening, how this is being explained. So hopefully it would help all of us to make it more devotional offering to the Lord every evening when we sing. So in these 3-day sessions, we'll be singing the meaning of this Damodar Ashtakam, which is composed by the Satyavrta Muni. So the famous song Namamishwaram. And then it is so special song that our Goswamis, especially the Sanatan Goswami, he took the effort to give the explanation, his purpose, the detailed explanation on this composition of Satyavrta Muni, this Damodar Ashtakam, in his Drittarshika Tika. So he has, in very detail, he has explained the meaning of that. So we'll try to understand few of the meanings of these stanzas. So what we'll do, we'll go stanza by stanza and verse by verse, and we'll try to cover how much we can cover every day based on our time limit. Okay. So we'll start with that. Before that, let us chant the prayers, offer our humble obeisances to our dear loving spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So please join me in chanting the pranam mantra to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So there is one verse in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That verse explains, Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankhyan dharma uddhava, na swadhyayastha bhastyago, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. So Krishna explains to Uddhavji, he says, my dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. So this is the verse, and this is a very, very classic verse that explains that bhakti is the only means to bring Krishna under control. And Krishna appears to demonstrate the power of love, and specifically through this Leela, this Damobandhan Leela, the Damodar Leela. You know, the power of love, the Aishwarya-heen Madhurya Bhakti. So, and this Leela has been explained by the Satyavrta Muni. He has composed this famous song that we sing every day. So we'll start with the first stanza here. Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyoluka Ladavamanam Paramrestamatyanta Todrute Gopya. So the meaning to this verse is Namamishwaram. So Satyavrta Muni start this song with Namami. Namami means offering obeisances. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when he starts composing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says this, Granthera Arambakari Mangalacharan Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smaran. So he says that before I start composing this Grantha, Chaitanya Charitamrita, let me do the Mangalacharan. So what is this Mangalacharan? Mangalacharan means Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smaran. So before we start anything, any spiritual activity, and for devotees, any material activity also, of course, for devotees, there should not be nothing material activity, but anything we do, we should always start with the Mangalacharan, which is remembering the Guru, Vaishnava, and Bhagavan. And he explains, Se Mangalacharan Haya Trivida Prakar Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvada Namaskar. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains this Mangalacharan is three types of Mangalacharan basically. So what are the three different types of Mangalacharan? He says Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvad Namaskar. So one thing is, one Mangalacharan is defining the objective. That is also called Mangalacharan. And then there is Ashirvad, that offering benediction. Like if you do this, you read this, this is the benediction. And then Namaskar, offering obeisances. So here in this first stanza, Namamishwaram. Namami means he's offering his obeisances, doing the Mangala Charan by offering the obeisances. To whom he is offering the obeisances? Sattvavrta Muni, Ishwaram. Now, it's very important to note here why he is using this word Ishwaram. Because Krishna, Ishwar means the supreme controller. So actually, this word Ishwara, he explains the tattva about the Supreme Lord. So in this verse, we'll see there are several super excellences of the Supreme Lord is described. So first he explained the tattva, that who is this small child? Seemingly looks like Yashodama is binding a small ordinary boy. But he wants that, oh, one should not mistake this boy as an ordinary boy. He is actually Ishwara. Same Ishwara as Brahmaji glorifies. Ishwara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Nadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. Even the Bhagavatam explains, Ete Chamsakalapamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. It is same Bhagavan, same Ishwara, same Krishna, though he is exhibiting here like the childhood, the ordinary child-like pastimes. But one should not mistake him as an ordinary child, because one might get confused by seeing Krishna's Leela. It's not easy to understand. Even the greatest and the first created being, the living entity, the Brahmaji got confused by seeing Krishna Leela in the Brahma Bimohan Leela. We know the story that how Brahmaji got confused. And later when he was praying to the Lord, Lord, I did the mistake, but let me very humbly submit that it was not completely my mistake. Little bit, it was your mistake also. If you did this, you do this kind of pastimes, like childlike pastimes, who will understand that you are the Supreme Lord? So I got confused. So yes, I did the mistake, but little bit it was your fault also. That kind of a prayer. So even Brahmaji get confused. So Sattvavrta Muni is explaining clearly, saying Namamishwaram. He's offering his obeisances to Ishwara, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Controller. Okay. So the Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he has basically two different features. One is the Mukhya Lakshan and one is Gauna Lakshan. So Mukhya Lakshan of Krishna is his godhood. He the Supreme Lord. But then he shows some Gauna Lakshan also. His sweetness and his beauty and his loving exchanges. Those things are. But when he is acting and he's exhibiting all those childlike pastimes, his godhood is not compromised. He still remains the same Ishwara, the same Supreme Lord. So Namamishwaram, Satchidananda Rupam. And his form is Sat Chit Anand. His form is eternal, full of knowledge, and blissful form, Rupam. So this explains Krishna's Rupa. So first word explains Krishna's Tattva, that he is Ishvara, and then explains the Rupa Vishesh. Krishna's Rupa is not ordinary. Krishna's form is not ordinary form. Satchidananda Rupam. So Rupam basically refers to the form. So one can refute the Mayavadis just by quoting one stanza from the Damodar Ashtakam, that it is, he is having some Rupa. It is not some impersonal Brahman. And then Namamishwaram Satchidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam. So Lasat Kundalam further explains the Krishna's Rupa, Krishna's beauty specifically, Rupa Vishesh. So it explains the beautiful alligator-shaped earrings, which is swinging to and fro and touching the cheeks, kissing the cheeks of Krishna. So this explains Krishna's Rupa Vishesha. Lasat Kundalam, right? So as there is one beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which explains Krishna's beauty is, it says when Krishna wears some ornaments. So the ornaments are not beautifying Krishna's beauty. Ornaments are not ornaments for Krishna, but Krishna is the ornament for the ornaments. Right? Param Padam Bhushana Bhushanangam. That is Krishna's beauty. So when he decorates, the Yashodama decorates Krishna with all the ornaments, actually this ornaments get beautified by putting on Krishna. So this is Rupa Vishesha. So Lasat Kundalam, his kundala is explained here. It's beautiful alligator shaped earrings, which is swinging to and fro and touching the cheeks, and that is enhancing this beauty further. Right. So Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Now, what is the meaning of this Gokula Brajamanam? What it explains? It explains about Krishna's parivar, Krishna's associates, Krishna's entourage, Krishna's family. Gokule Brajamanam, that he is performing this pastime where? In Gokula. Right? So it explains parivar, Krishna's parivar. So Krishna's tattva is explained, Krishna's roop is explained, Krishna's associates, Krishna's family, Krishna's parivar is also explained. Actually, Krishna's parivar is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, this famous verse, which says that Aho Bhagyam Nanda Gopa Brajo Krisham Yan Mitram Paramanandam Purnam Brahma Sanatanam. So this is glorified. The Nanda Maharaj is glorified and all the cowherd men are glorified. Aho Bhagyam, what a greatly fortunate Nanda Maharaj is. Yan Mitram Paramanandam Purnam Brahma Sanatanam, that you have become so friendly. To whom? Paramanandam Purnam Brahma Sanatanam, the Supreme Lord who is Purna Brahma Sanatanam and has become your friend. So what a good fortune of all these Nanda Gopa Brajavakasam, all the Brajavasis. So this is the family of Krishna, all the Brajavasis. Right? So Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So this Gokule Brajamanam explains Krishna's family, his entourage, his associates, and Krishna is performing all those pastimes surrounded by all this family and all these associates. And then Yashodhabi Luka Labhavamanam. The third line, it explains the Leela of the Lord. So what is doing? The Tattva is explained, Rupa is explained, Parivar is explained. Now Krishna's Leela is explained. What is the Leela he is doing? The same Ishvara, Namamishwaram, he is doing Yashodhabhiya. He is fearful of Yashodamai. Now, who is this person who is fearful? So actually Bhagavatam explains about Krishna that Yad Bhiveti Swayam Bhayam. Even the fear personified is fearful of Krishna. And that Krishna is fearful of Yashodamai sticks. So in Vrindavan, so Krishna, what he was doing? He was distributing the butter to the monkeys. And as soon as the mother Yashoda comes with a stick and she wanted to chastise Krishna, punish Krishna, to discipline Krishna. So Krishna was on the wooden grinding mortar, and as soon as he saw, he realized that Yashodama is right here. He jumped off the mortar and he started running. Right? And Yashodhabiyo Luka Ladhavamanam. He started dhava. Dhava means dhavati means to run. He is fearful of Yashodamai, and out of fear he started running. Now Supreme Lord is running and Yashodamai is chasing. So Krishna is running with the idea that if I run away, he started to run towards the main gate. He thought I'll just go out of the house. And then probably, Yashodamai, because being a respectable lady, she'll not probably come in the street to chase me and, so I'll escape like this. But Yashodamai was also very, very determined. She did not leave Krishna. Right? She is chasing Krishna to catch, to tie, to punish, to discipline Krishna by tying to the grinding mortar. Right? So this verse actually explains that the determination of Yashodamai, that how Yashodamai could catch Krishna, same Supreme Lord, who many yogis, tapasvis, they're trying to catch, but they are not able to catch, but Yashodamai can catch. How? Because of she was very, very determined. So this explains the determination of Yashodamai also. And this explains the Leela. Yashodhabi Yoluka Ladhavamanam Paramrastamakyan Tato Drutya Gopya. So this Lord, he is running and he is fearful of Yashodamai's sticks. And then finally Yashodamai catches. And through this Leela, Krishna actually demonstrates the power of devotional service, that by devotional service, one can control Krishna, one can captivate Krishna, one can bind Krishna by the rope of love, by the rope of devotional service. So that is the meaning of this first stanza. Okay, so we saw that there is a Tattva Vishesha, there is a Rupa Vishesha, there is Parivar, there is Leela, all these explained in this one verse itself. Okay. So we'll just quickly go to the next verse. Rudantam Murnetram Yogmam Rajantam Karambo Jayogmena Satantra Netram Mohoswasekam Pati Rekanka Kanta Sitagrevam Damodaram Bhaktivadam. Now this is the verse. It completely explains about Krishna's Leela. What is happening? So Yashoda Mai, because of his determination and because of her love, that motherly affection, she caught Krishna and she tied Krishna. She binds Krishna onto the grinding mortar. Now what happens? The same Krishna from whom even the fear personified is fearful. That Krishna, what is doing now? Rudantam muhurnetram. He is Rudantam, he started crying now. And how is crying? Muhu. Constantly he is crying now. And then Netram Yugmam is Mrijantam. Netram Yugmam Mrijantam. So his two eyes, he is rubbing two eyes, crying and rubbing two eyes. Constantly is crying. How is rubbing the eyes? Karambhoja Yugmena. Karambhoja. Kara means the hand and Ambhoja means the lotus. So with his lotus hand, Yugmena, Yug means basically two. So he's rubbing his eyes with his two lotus hand. He's crying. So this is what is the Leela he is doing. Everybody is astonished to see this kind of Leela. That Krishna, who is the Purna Brahma Sanatanam, and is crying constantly, rubbing his eyes. And sa atanka netram, his eyes are filled with atanka. So there is a fear, bhaya, and then there is a terror. So then fear go to its extreme, it becomes terror. So Krishna is terrified, not fearful. He's at the extreme. He's terrified by the small stick of Yashodamai. So Yashodamai is not actually going to hit him, but she's just trying to scare him. And then Krishna is atanka netram. And then tears are constantly flowing and he's rubbing his eyes. So this is very astonishing. Actually, this is a verse here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. This is a nice verse which explains that how this is from the 3rd canto. This is the purport. Prabhupada explains that inhabitants of this material world are always shedding tears out of intense grief. There is a great ocean of water made from such tears. There's so much of grief here. People are so much of suffering here that they're constantly crying, and so much they cry, they shed tears. It becomes like an ocean. How to come out from that grief? But for one who surrenders into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ocean of tears is at once dried up. One need only see the charming smile of the Supreme Lord. So the ocean, which is made out of the tears that people, grief-stricken people, they were constantly crying. From their tears, the ocean dries up just by seeing Krishna's smile. And that Krishna is now crying. So that is astonishing. That Krishna is crying here. So Karambhoja Yugmena Sa Atanka Netra. So he is very fearful. And then what happens? So generally, whenever Krishna was doing some mistake or something happens, like a small baby, Krishna used to cry. That is when Yashoda Mai will go lift Krishna in the lap, and with her sari, she will wipe the tears of Krishna. But this time, Yashoda Mai want to be a little strict, want to chastise and discipline. So she is not wiping the tears of Krishna. So Krishna himself has to wipe the tears. So that is how he's doing, like he's trying to wipe the tears. And because of that, that black mascara is also spreading around, which is again enhancing the beauty of Krishna. Right. So even actually this Leela is also explained by the Kunti Maharani also. She remembers Krishna's Leela actually in the Kunti Maharani's prayers. If devotees remember this famous verse. Anybody remember this? Kopya dade toitragasi damatavad yate dashashtukalilanjana sambramaksham vatram niniya bhayabhavanaya stidasya samabhimo yadibirapi yadbriveti. So here what is happening? The Kunti Maharani is remembering this pastime of Krishna, that Gopya Dade. Gopi is actually refers to the Yashoda Mai here. She took a rope and bind Krishna. Why she binds Krishna? Because Kritagasi, he's committed an offense. And then because of that, when Yashoda Mai tied, and then Krishna was Kalila Anjana Sambrahmaksham, he was perturbed and his eyes overflowed with tears. And then what Krishna is doing? Niniya Bhaya Bhavana Astidasya. Krishna is standing there with his head down like this. Like somebody does the mistake and he's caught now and somebody chastising. So with the head down and the person is standing like this. So, who is the person? It is Vimohoyati. It bewilders me. Yashoda, Kunti Maharani is saying, it bewilders me that Krishna is standing with the head down. The same Krishna whom Vir Api Yad Biveti. Even the fear is afraid of this. Maharani also remembers this pastime. So, Rudantam Muhur Netram, Yugmam Mridantam, Karam Bhoja Yugmena Sa Atanka Netram. And then Muhu Swasa Kampa, Tri Rekhanka Kanda. Now, because of his crying and his running, and he's already exhausted. And now, when he's caught and Yashodama is trying to tie him, and then what he's doing? Muhu Swasa Kampa. He's trembling and he's taking heavily, he's breathing very heavily, right? Because he ran so much, so he's tired now, he's exhausted. So he's breathing heavily, and he's trembling. And that is, so who is this Krishna? Is the same Krishna, his expansion of the expansion of expansion, which is Mahavishnu. When that Mahavishnu breathes, millions of Brahmandas they comes out. And now the source of the source of the source of this Mahavishnu is breathing heavily and crying. Right? So Yashodama is very strict, showing the stick, chastise, and then same Krishna is crying and breathing heavily. And he's trembling. Sa atanka netram. So out of atanka, out of fear, he's trembling. Sa atanka, Muswasa kampa, 3 rekhanka kanta. And then 3 lines on his throat. And then Sthita Gravam Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. Sthita Gravam means he is wearing some necklace. So that necklace is also because of shaking, because of his breathing very heavily. So it is shaking up and down like that. Right? So that Supreme Personality is finally bound by Bhakti Vaddham. Right? Bhakti Vaddham means this is the Damabandhan Leela, right? Damodar Leela, where Krishna is tied by the rope on the belly. So Krishna is not bound by the rope, but by the love of his devotees. He can be bound by bhakti. Nothing else can bind Krishna. Nobody can bind Krishna. Even Duryodhana also tried to arrest Krishna, to bind and catch Krishna. But even Duryodhana also couldn't do. Right? So that is what actually the 10th canto, Deva Goswami explains that how one can bind Krishna is that this is the verse, the famous verse we discussed last time in detail. Samatrozan Gatraya Visrasta Kavarasraja Drashtva Parishramam Krishna Kripaya Subandhane. So how Krishna was bound? By seeing Drashtava, by seeing Parishramam, the hard labor of Yashodamai. And how Yashodamai was working hard and so determined to tie Krishna. And by that hard labor, Krishna's Kripa Shakti became prominent. Right? And then Krishna's desire to play and not to be bound changed. And then finally, under the influence of Krishna's own Kripa Shakti, Krishna decided to bound. Drashtva Parishamam Krishna. Kripa Asit Swabandhane. Swabandhane. So nobody can bind Krishna, nobody can tie Krishna, but Krishna is Swabandhane. He himself decided to bound by Yashodamai by seeing Yashodamai's hard labor, his determination. So that is the secret revealed here. If you want to catch Krishna, to tie Krishna, to bind Krishna into our heart, into the temple of our heart, then this is the secret here. That we should work hard, we should be determined, parishramam, complete hard work. And then Krishna becomes pleased by seeing that. So that is what Krishna is showing through this, that Krishna is bhaktarjitatvam. He is bhakta paradhina. Bhakta vashyata. Bhakta vashyata, that Krishna explained, that I comes under the control of my devotee. So he is controlled, is captured and bind by the love of his devotees. Okay. So now it's already 8:45. So this is the meaning. So the second verse explains Krishna's Leela Vishesh. So how the Supreme Lord, who is the Ishvara, Namamishwaram, Sachidananda Rupa, that same Lord, he is afraid of one small stick. Who is that Lord? Even the fear personified is fearful of him, and he is afraid. So he is doing the Leela to enchant the heart of his devotees and to demonstrate the power of the love, the power of devotional service. Right? So with this meaning, when we sing, we can just meditate these meanings of this song, and then it helps us to observe ourselves in remembering the Leela and offering the song and our offerings with more devotion. Okay, so we'll continue to discuss more in 2 more day sessions. So we'll discuss and we'll complete that. So I thank you all for taking all the time and joining us this evening. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So please keep chanting and keep reading and take some vows that already devotees might have taken already. So try to do more and more, something, whatever, for different individuals. So try to do something more for deepening our Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.